Hey, welcome back into another afternoon edition here of Tony Talks Trash About Music. I'm going to do a real short thing today here. I'm going to talk about my 10 favorite Nick Drake tracks, why I like them a little bit. I didn't want to do more than that. You know, he's got such a sparse catalog here that doing more than that, you'd be talking pretty much about every song in the catalog. He's one of these guys who had a short but sweet discography of 3 regular records. They put together certainly a couple addendums to that, but I don't really, some of those, first one's a little better, more complete than the others. But anyway, these are going to be my top 10 Nick Drake tracks. Number 10 from Pink Moon, Parasite. Really a dissolute type of a track, a downer type of a track, but really spins a web, you know, almost with the way the guitar chords is very web-like, and his voice. 'Cause I am the paradise. It's really kind of dreamy and almost like he's trying to bust out of something there. But really one of the great tracks. And again, as I've said before, I think for somebody starting on Nick Drake, there's nothing that beats that Way to Blue compilation that Island put out a while ago. And you know, one of the great songs from that, number 9. One of These Things First and Brighter Later is my number 9. I should have been really jazzy. You've got a jazzy flavor on these tracks, a little more, you got a little more of a Baroque, you know, the way that the Drake catalog works out to me is more kind of like, in a way, some of the Tim Buckley stuff kind of took similar shape, but you've got a kind of a Baroque flavor to the first one. And then you have more I think, a jazzier feel to some of the stuff, you know, on the second record. Let's go to number 8 from the Five Leaves Left, the astonishingly Robert Kirby string arrangement that's dropped everybody's jaw when they dropped the faders on it, which is Way to Blue. It's just beautiful, naked with him, with Nick's voice, you know, pondering in such inquisitive mode of you know, it's always had this melancholy about it and the Englishness about it. And it really, within the orchestration, the notes that they play in the selection and the coloration of the notes in the mix, just beyond belief. I'm going to go to number 7, to the title track to my favorite record of his, which is the most dissolute record of his, is Pink Moon, and that would be the title track from Pink Moon with number 7. I think it makes a really great, as I've said before, it makes a really fantastic. I've played it before. It makes almost a really great thing that you could go into Not Fade Away or something like that. It really also fits a dun, 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 dun. I've played it like that before, and maybe that's a sin. I don't know, but I just think, you know, to me, it's kind of more of a sin than when I turned in. I saw a Volkswagen commercial using this. I'm like, what? But it's, you know, his estate deserved it. You know, it's just a shame. He was so crushed. It seemed like he was so crushed. And maybe just a coincidence with the mental illness coming at the same time of his career, but he seemed to be affected so bad. Number 6, let's talk about the exquisite Poor Boy with the unbelievable piano solo that sounds like somebody just stabbing and poking and playing. It's nothing like you'd ever think of. And those great female background vocals, almost presaging the way that, you know, Lou Reed and people would use them years later. Just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. You know, when you think about Island Records, this is what you think about. You think about a sound like this. You think about somebody laying it down, and you can certainly hear something different from that deal. Number 5, Where You're Going to Stay with Brighter Later for the great Hazy Jane 2, what's supposed to be the ode to marijuana or whatever somebody has said before. Just a beautiful abstract up-tempo thing. I prefer it to the slower version. The slower version's great too, but I really like the up-tempo with the trumpets and the da 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 da. It's so English. I mean, the sound of it, you know, it sounds like you can almost hear the cars going by on the English street. and the woman waving the traffic through. It's really something else here. And number four, I'm going to talk about the uh, culminating track from the jarring Pink Moon, and that's From the Morning. Song that Nick had evidently had a while, but saved it for the right moment. Go play the game you lie from the morning. It's just there's something about it. You have to dig it. And I don't know if you guys, you're mellow enough to it. Some people, followed REM into this kind of a sound. But I really encourage you to listen to Nick Drake. Nick Drake is really worth getting. If you go out and get yourself one CD, go out and find a compilation of Nick Drake. Go find a nice playlist here. I could actually create a playlist with this you could pick up. But you really need to. My recommendation really is you should listen to these songs. There's really something special. He was really something special. And it's no wonder he was depressed. He had a really unique uh, talent and with a really unique set of circumstances at the time, and just everything happening the way that it happened, almost like it had to happen that way. Number three, we're going to go to the great again, Beautiful Brighter Later, and the beautiful Celeste augmented from John Cale's Northern Sky, which is about as nice, beautiful of a love song and as subtle of a love song as you can have. It sounds like somebody who's just weary and just looking for and really appreciative of love and bleary and almost can't recognize it coming in at the time. And you kind of wonder what he and Kay were up to during that period of time, that fortnight or whatever they had. But they had a long period of time together, a little period together. And they did some good work. They did that and the other song Fly, which was also fantastic on the other side. Let's get to the top two. Number two is one that a song that I particularly wanted to learn, and it has a very odd tuning. So if anybody, I'd recommend it. It probably touches a lot of people too, like it touches me. But I'm talking about the ever deep soul gouging. Which will you take now? If you won't take me, I don't know which you're gonna like or which you like the best. It's just. It's intense. It's intense. It's a defeatist, almost a white flag type of a song, but at the same time, um, showing almost a pathetic earnestness about it. Um, Look it up. There's a guy that really has it good with the tuning. It's the tuning's the right. It's not hard to play, but it's hard rhythmically. It's a very rhythmic type to play, and it's kind of difficult to play and sing at the same time. I had it down pretty good there for a little while, and my father-in-law came in town and retuned the guitar. He didn't know that I had the guitar tuned down there especially for it, so I have to retune it. I haven't retuned it anyway, and that's okay with me. I'd rather hear him play guitar than to have me clunk through that repetitively again. I used to do the same thing, by the way, with the Stones. Uh, Poor boy hung his head and cried prodigal son. That's a special tune, guitar too. It's really nice. Anyway, but Nick Drake. Friends, that's one of the things I heard about the live thing is that he had to have a different tuning every single guitar, every single song. So the only time I ever tried that live it must be a trip in your mind. Like Joni Mitchell's the same thing. She has different tunings. It must be a trip to be able to perform that live if you're literally coming from if your root note. To me, there has to be some kind of a stable bass. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe the brain is capable of more than I think it can. But number one, let's talk about the odd meter. I've been around the bush long enough. You probably know what my number one is. It's pretty much everybody's a lot of people's number one with them. I'm talking about the exquisite, the undeniably beautiful with the major to minor chord change, the Riverman. Come to see the Riverman. Gonna tell all I can about the plan. Just a just the way the string arrangement comes, the Kirby string arrangement comes in at the same time with the way that the guitar is voiced and the plucking of the strings. He's just magnificent. You can tell it's on that song particularly. You can hear that the strength of his and dexterity of his fingers, and he really a unique talent. That's it. That's my list. That's my top 10 guys. I love Nick Drake. Always will love Nick Drake. It's a very important canon of work. I think everybody's a musician, even as a fan. If you're open in any way to anything, but the heaviest of heavy, you'll like Nick Drake. My son jokes with me all the time about uh, Nick Drake being a heavy metal artist. Well, it's heavy metal in a different way. Heavy emotional metal, I guess we should say. But I love him. I love him, and I really encourage you guys. He's one of these artists that really needs more attention. And I know that some of it came in on a niche there sometime in the 80s. He came back again. But I would seriously tell people to come back to it. There's some great quality there and some great English, beautiful English and English arrangements, English quality. Much like I said in the Scott Walker catalog, in the earlier Scott Walker catalog, these beautiful English orchestrations, and especially these echo chambers that they have in these studios and stuff, are just unmatched. I mean, all of the whole Philips sound, back there with that stuff with Scott Walker I was talking about. Something to discover, man. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging around with me. I told you it would be a little bit short here. We're a little bit past 11 minutes, and we will catch you next time with something interesting. Please like the video. We ask you to like it. It helps us out a lot. And we would ask you to subscribe if you would. Please leave your comments and your favorite top 10 and Nick Drake. I'm sure if you're a Nick Drake, you've heard Nick Drake, you're touched by it. I've heard very few people who listen to it who don't take some of it on and march into their own future with it. So anyway, well, thank you guys. You guys have a good day, and we'll catch you next time.